Hello everyone. Today I would like to present my current issue video surrounding concussion management. Recently, the film industry has brought this issue to the public. The first is a 2012 documentary entitled Head Games. This film investigates head injuries in sports, specifically football, hockey, boxing, soccer, lacrosse, and professional wrestling. The second, a more popular film, is Concussion, written and produced in 2015 by Peter Landsman. In the film, Will Smith portrays Dr. Bennett Omalu, a forensic pathologist who discovers a new disease called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, or CTE, and focuses on the fight with the National Football League to recognize that their former players are suffering from this disease due to repeated head trauma. Further validating the 2015 film, this past Tuesday, July 24th, the Journal of American Medical Association released a study on 111 former NFL players and revealed that 110 were suffering from CTE. As a result of injuries, there have been suits filed in court for damages. In 2015, a federal judge allowed a class action lawsuit against the National Football League on behalf of thousands of former players in the United States District Court for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. The plaintiff sought $112.5 million. Upon mediation, the settlement was agreed to be $675 million. The settlement was preliminarily denied due to future players and their awards. This case was appealed to the Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, and in a unanimous decision, the $675 million settlement was ruled fair, reasonable, and adequate. Overall, through the monetary award baseline, assessment, and education funds, notice costs, claims administration, and attorney's fees, the Players' Council secured a benefit of nearly $1.2 billion. Currently, there is also litigation in the courts surrounding class action lawsuits between athletes and the National Collegiate Athletic Association and the National Hockey League. So what is a concussion, and how does it relate to school law? By definition, a concussion is a complex pathophysiological process that affects the brain, typically induced by trauma to the brain. It can be caused either by a direct blow to the head or an indirect blow to the body. Symptoms usually reflect a functional disturbance to the brain and may include physical, cognitive, emotional, and maintenance symptoms. A concussion is considered a brain injury. To put the issue in focus, why has having concussion management policies become such an important topic for school administrators? How serious is the issue? According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 33% of all concussions happen during practices, not games. 46% of all sports concussions happen during football. 20% of all athletes will sustain a concussion during a season, and in soccer specifically, the concussion rate for girls is 68% higher than it is for boys. In the National High School Sports-Related Injury Surveillance Study in association with the University of Colorado at Denver, results have found that the prevalence of concussions over the 10-year period from 2005 to 2015 has nearly tripled, going from 9.1% to 24.6%. This has prompted several laws surrounding concussion management. The first being the 2009 State of Washington law entitled Zachary-Leistat Law. First, K-12 concussion law, and it requires medical clearance of young athletes suspected of sustaining a concussion before sending them back in the game, practice, or training. The facts are that Zachary-Leistat sustained a head injury while playing football at the age of 13. He returned to play after 15 minutes and suffered a second head injury without evaluation from a certified medical professional. Following the game, Zachary collapsed on the field, was rushed to the hospital, and underwent emergency brain surgery. As a result of the successive concussions, he was in and out of a coma for 3 months, followed by years of disability and treatment. Shortly after the passing of the Zachary-Leistat Law, Oregon passed Max's Law. Max's Law requires school districts to create concussion management guidelines for student athletes. Within 5 years, all 50 states and the District of Columbia have laws regarding concussion management and youth sports. The facts are that Max Conrad was an exceptional high school scholar athlete when he suffered his first concussion on a Southern Oregon football field. After suffering a second concussion in a game the following week, Max was unconscious and in a coma that would last for months. Today, Max is in a long-term care facility. Most statutes require school districts, state departments of education, local school districts, and/or state interscholastic athletic associations to develop guidelines and protocols for recognizing sports-related concussions and returning young athletes safely back to sporting activities. Although they vary, most require educating coaches, parents, and athletes about concussions, symptoms, causes, and effects. Removing youth athletes from the playing field immediately when a concussion is suspected. Returning an athlete to play or practice only after at least a 24-hour recovery and after receiving permission from a healthcare professional, and ensuring that parents and the youth athletes have provided clear, informed consent to play. As we look at the map, we see that nearly half of all states also require training of not only school coaches but youth coaches as well. Notice that Ohio is the only state that requires sports officials to receive training. On the federal front, in Congress, both the House and the Senate are considering measures similar to what states have already passed. The issue has played out in litigation involving school-age athletes as well. When students and parents file a personal injury claim against a public school district, they most often run afoul of the state's immunity to civil action. These suits can prevail if the harm caused was reasonably foreseeable, the state actor acted with a degree of culpability that shocks the conscience, the state actor and the plaintiff had a special protective relationship, and the harm was caused through an affirmative act on the plaintiff, not merely a failure to act. There have been significant court cases regarding damages to student athletes. Between 2004 and 2015, 9 cases have been brought to court based on claims of negligence, 14th Amendment right to due process, and violation of Sections 504 and ADA. Of those 9 cases, 7 of these were to be found in favor of the defendants for various reasons. 2 were considered sufficient for further proceedings. In Mann versus Palmerton Area School District, Sheldon Mann was at football practice and sustained a head injury. Mann informed the coaches he was not feeling well as a result. They sent him back out to continue practice, did not perform a concussion assessment, did not send him to the trainer, and did not notify his parents of the injury. In the ruling in 2016, the decision found that a student athlete could not hold his high school football coach or school district liable for a concussion he suffered during football practice. Based on qualified immunity, which shields public officials from damages for civil liability so long as they did not violate an individual's clearly established statutory or constitutional rights, and municipal liability. There was no evidence to suggest that the district was deliberately indifferent to the coach's training or had a custom or practice of ignoring head injuries. In MU versus Downingtown High School, during a preseason soccer scrimmage in 2012, MU leapt to head a ball and collided heads with another player. A teammate informed the coach that she had hit her head, and the coach chose not to remove her from the game. She played the remainder of the game, was involved in other collisions, and headed the ball on other plays as well. The ruling here was that litigation was dismissed due to ruling that alleged facts did not state a possible claim of action. Which brings us to Maine's Concussion Management Initiative. In 2000, the state of Maine has enacted statutes regarding concussion management. You can find them at www.maine.gov/DOE/concussion. 2009, Maine established a work group to make recommendations on the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of head injuries in student athletes, including baseline and post-concussion testing and diagnosis of student athletes, etc. In 2012, the Commissioner of Education was directed to propose a model policy for public and private schools on the management of concussive and other head injuries in school activities, athletics, and specifies requirement for the model policy. On the Department of Education's management page, there's a variety of information provided with 4 separate categories. For families and students, it provides information and videos about concussions as well as prevention and management. For coaches and athletic administrators, it provides training and resources for preventing and recognizing concussions. For teachers and administrators, it provides forms for accommodating students with concussions, training resources, and expectations during post-concussion recovery. And for healthcare providers, it provides a variety of resources, forms, and tools, training regarding concussions, and valuable links. The DOE site also provides information about the state law and a model policy for concussion management. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great day.